Hi there, this is Infinity, and in this episode you'll see the most unusual, unique, and interesting people who broke all records. The biggest woman ever. How much do you think the biggest woman in history weighed? If I'd been asked that question, I would have said something in the 400 to 500 kilogram range. What would you say? 500 kilos? How about 600? Take it up a notch. The largest and heaviest woman in recorded history weighed 727 kilograms. Just to give you a better idea, that's not much less than the weight of a small car. The woman's name was Carol Yeager. I said was because Carol is the only one in this episode who's sadly no longer alive. Carol had suffered from an eating disorder since childhood. According to the girl, the trigger for this disorder was a serious psychological trauma inflicted by a close family member. Since then, she stopped controlling herself when it came to eating. By the time she was in her 20s, her weight had passed the 700 kilo mark. Obviously, Carol couldn't move around on her own because her muscles simply couldn't handle such an enormous load. By the way, Carol is not only the heaviest woman in history, but also the woman who lost the most weight. Carol lost the most weight by non-surgical means in the shortest documented time, 236 kilograms in 3 months. Anyway, no diet would have saved Carol because that kind of weight is just unnatural. At the age of 34, the girl passed away. Cause of death was kidney failure. How far can you stretch your mouth? About 5 or 6 centimeters? Okay, maybe some of you can stretch your mouth a little more.
Nice.
But I don't think you can compete with a guy from Angola named Francisco Domingo Joaquim. Francisco has the biggest and widest mouth in the world. That's why he's listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. Francisco's mouth stretches up to 17 centimeters. You can clearly see how big is Francisco's mouth by looking at the pictures where he's holding a Coke can in his mouth. It looks like an ordinary man cannot do such things, but what's interesting is that Francisco is no ordinary man. He didn't make any effort to become a record breaker, and he never worked out his facial muscles. He was just lucky with his genetics. The Angolan was born with very elastic skin. So at a conscious age, he decided to turn this feature to his advantage. Some people love tattoos. Others are neutral or negative about them. But probably no one in the world is as devoted to tattoos as Lucky Diamond Rich from New Zealand. This 50-year-old man is the most tattooed man on the planet, a title he's held since 2006, the year he made the Guinness Book of World Records. It's hard to believe, but 100% of Lucky's body is covered in tattoos. 100%. That is, there isn't a single area on his body that isn't covered in tattoos. Lucky even has tattoos in his mouth, on his eyelids, and between his fingers. Lucky's had the idea of covering his entire body in tattoos since childhood, but he put it off until he got his first tattoo, a small mace on his thigh. From then on, Lucky got more and more tattoos until they covered his entire body. When he got completely covered in tattoos, he started covering his skin with light tattoos over dark ones and adding different colors. Lucky says he spent more than 1,000 hours painting his body. That is, he spent more than 42 days of pure time in tattoo shops. By the way, in addition to the tattoos, Lucky has his earlobes stretched and his teeth replaced with silver veneers. A resident of Iran named Abul Fazl Saber Mokhtari is a real magnet.
Yeah, bitch! Magnets!
The Iranian is probably the most powerful magnet of all people on this planet. He's able to magnetize and hold on himself all kinds of objects. Mostly, Abul Fazl magnetizes metal. For example, this Iranian can magnetize at least a few dozen spoons at once. Coins, phones, and cassettes are all perfectly magnetized to his body as well. Abul Fazl can also magnetize more unexpected objects. For example, wood, plates, and vegetables. They all stick to his body very well. Abul Fazl began to develop his talent as a child, but for years he never told anyone about it. That all changed when his daughter showed him a video of a man from India who was able to attract metal spoons to himself. After watching it, the Iranian also decided to show the world his gift. According to him, objects are magnetized to him due to the power of thought. Not surprisingly, that skeptics met such a bold statement with hostility. They believe that the Iranian just places the body in the right way that objects are hanging on it. Some skeptics believe that Abul Fazl's skin may be stickier than that of an ordinary person, due to which he manages to do such spectacular tricks. The Iranian himself does not listen to skeptics and continues to insist on his gift of telekinesis. And what do you think? Does the Iranian really have an incredible gift, or is he just a skilled charlatan? Share your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned because there's no doubt about the following people's skills and features. If Abolfazl Mokhtari can be called the Magnet Man, then Gino Martino can be called the Human Anvil. Actually, journalists call him just like that. Unlike Abolfazl, who hooks metal objects onto himself and then carefully removes them, Gino literally destroys metal. This American strongman and wrestler is able to split iron bars and concrete blocks with his head, as well as bend nails with his skull and hammer them into boards with his forehead. The American skull withstood 7-kilogram bowling balls dropped on him from several meters above. In general, the guy's head can be called the strongest on the planet. It looks like Gino's skull can't be penetrated even by a bullet, because judging by what he does, his skull is made of solid steel. By the way, as for the structure of Gino's skull, scientists from the Harvard Medical School studied the athlete's body. By means of magnetic resonance therapy, it was established that the skull of the American is 2.3 times thicker than that of other people. Gino Martino's skull is among the thickest ever examined. No wonder it can withstand such insane stress. At the same time, though, it's amazing. According to the Guinness Book of Records, the owner of the longest mustache on the planet is an Indian named Ram Singh Chauhan. His mustache's length is 4.29 meters. Officially, Ram Singh is indeed the record holder, but unofficially, he's significantly inferior to another Indian named Girdhar Vyas, who lives in Rajasthan. The unofficial world record holder's mustache length exceeds 6 meters. His mustache is so long that he has to wrap it up in a special way. Otherwise, it would drag on the ground. Perhaps some of you would like to grow a mustache of the same kind. Well, if so, just know this. It will take 30 to 35 years to grow such a mustache. Vyas started growing a mustache in 1985. As he says, he has no intention of stopping and will grow his mustache for the rest of his life. Quite a bold and decisive statement, considering the fact that his mustache gives him a lot of inconveniences. First of all, the man has to keep his mustache wrapped in a sort of beard to keep it from dragging on the ground. Secondly, Vyas visits a barber every week. It's understandably because such hair needs constant care. But difficulties and troubles don't frighten Vyas. He's very popular among locals. Many people regularly visit the record breaker to check out his mustache in person. And finally, we have a very unusual person. More specifically, it's a human model named Graham, which was developed a few years ago by Australian scientists. You probably remember this man because in 2016 he was a meme. Well, for those of you who don't know or have forgotten, Graham is the only man who can survive any car accident. The unflattering-looking model has a thick skull, a forehead bulging forward, virtually no neck, and ribs reaching almost to the chin. In addition, the model's body is covered with a thick layer of fat to protect the bones from injury in case of an accident. Scientists believe that a person with exactly these characteristics, parameters, and appearance would be able to survive any car accident. And while Graham is only a model for now, who knows what the future holds? Maybe scientists will be able to bring Graham into reality and use him in car transportation. In that case, we'll have another record breaker, the first person in the world who's not afraid of any car accidents. That's all, guys. Could you get into the Guinness Book of World Records? What skills or features do you have? Let me know in the comment section down below.